Okay.
Hey, Jacob. This is Zeeshan Usmani.
Nice to see you again. As
Nice to
always, a pleasure.
Thanks for giving me time for my audience. So I have made few videos about the US visa and the immigration and the NIW and EB1 and O1, and I got like dozens and dozens of questions from my audience. So I thought, let's learn from the horse's mouth. So I'll ask directly those questions to you, and then you can explain to my audience, and then I will upload this video on YouTube with your permission. So should we start?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. First of all, tell me about yourself, who you are, where you come from, what you do, where you get your education from, and where you are at your current career.
Definitely. So first of all, my name is Jacob Saposhnik, and I'm an immigration attorney based in San Diego, California. So our main office is in San Diego. We have an East Coast office in Connecticut, and also in Palo Alto, California, which is really in the hub of the startups, entrepreneurship. We work with a lot of these companies. Basically, I started, I went to law school in England. Actually, I got my law degree from University of Manchester, Metropolitan in England. And then I moved to the United States to do my master's in San Diego. I focused mostly on internet law. That was my original. And then I started I got into international law and immigration law, and with a bigger specialty in entrepreneurship, business visas, things like that. So we've been doing this for almost 20 years now. So with a lot of success with entrepreneurship and people that are highly skilled looking to come to the United States. And the good thing about our, the special thing about our office is that we really use a lot of technology. So make it easy for clients, whether it's online meetings, uploading documents, having all these different tools to work with their clients, because most of them are very technology savvy, so we want to stay up to date with them as well. So so that's about me. And like I said, we are very active on social media. We publish a lot of YouTube videos, articles, because our goal is to give a lot of education to people that are interested in doing the journey of moving to the United States. And I think it's important to invest time to teach and educate the audience so they feel more empowered and understanding the process before they even start. That's the reason why we're doing this right now.
Perfect. Awesome. World need more people like you. So walk me through different visa types that you work on. People get always confused between F1 and J1 and O1 and EB1 and EB2 and R1 and L1. For a layman who doesn't know nothing about it, walk me through those visa types. What are those? What you need to be applied for those certain categories, and if you can help in all of those categories, or there are a few categories that you only help and there are a few others that you don't.
So I think the easiest way to do this is to understand that the immigration system, the United States immigration system, is divided into two main blocks. One block is the non-immigrant visas, non-immigrant categories. So this is for all the people that want to come here. And I'm going to explain it the most simple way. To come here for a temporary time. So for example, if you want to come here, let's start from the basics. You want to come here as a visitor. If you want to come here as a visitor, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit more detail in a few minutes, you apply for a tourist visa, B visa. If you want to come here as a student, and again, the B visa allows you to come to the United States to visit, even though the embassy gives you the visa for 10 years, 5 years, it doesn't mean you can stay here for 5 years. It means that you don't have to go back to the embassy every single time you want to come here. They just give you the visa. But for a tourist visa, your maximum stay is 6 months. You can always extend it, but that's limited. That's a non-immigrant visa. If you want to come to study here, you can apply for an F visa to go to university or college. And again, the embassy may give you the visa for 5 years, but the duration of your stay will depend on your course. If you want to study a vocational course for only 2 years, then the 5-year visa will have no meaning if your course is going to end before the 5 years. So the most common visa that a lot of students are applying is the F1 visa. But some students who are coming for vocational training will apply for an M1 visa, which is a vocational training. It's not academic. There are also visas that are non-immigrant visas in the same category. Right now, we're talking about that pool for cultural exchange. We have a lot of people who are coming here for a year, 18 months under the J1 visa. You're coming to learn a skill. You're coming to get an internship. It's a very popular visa to come here to get some experience as a cultural exchange. It's a J1 visa. So those are all temporary visas. Get training. Now, once you get the training, let's say you want to come and work. Again, you're still non-immigrant. The most common non-immigrant visa is H1b, where you actually are skilled, you're qualified to work here, and you found a job with a US employer. They will apply for the H1b visa. And of course, we can talk about it in more detail, what it is, but that visa will allow you to work here up to 6 years in the United States with an employer. So again, that requires an employer, that requires you to have at least a bachelor degree, because it's a professional visa. And the problem with that visa is that there's a limited number of visas. There's only 65,000. And if you have a US master's, you can get another 20,000. So it's very difficult to get it, a lot of competition. But again, we're still on the non-immigrant category. The next one is, let's say you are, you have some experience, you have maybe advanced degree, you have some good skills. There's a special visa for special talent. It's called the O1. The O1 visa allows you to work, again, like the H1B in any company, any sponsor, but you have to have special skills. Maybe you were working as a manager. Maybe you have a master's. Maybe you've done something exceptional in your career. So the O1 is a really good visa to apply for because there's no cap. You can apply for the O1 at any time, as long as I can show that you have reached that higher level. In addition to the O1, there's also the P visa, which is also for high achievers, but it's more, I use the P visa mostly for people that are athletes or coming here to perform, entertainers. It's less for business. If you're a business person, if you want to work, it's mostly the O1 visa is the top category. Now, let's say you are, I know a lot of your audience are from Pakistan and maybe other related countries. There is a visa for people who want to start their own business. Again, we're still non-immigrant category. I'm still, there's so many options over there. So if you don't want to work for anyone and you want to start your own business and you're from Pakistan, for example, you can apply for the E2 visa. The E2 visa allows you to start your own business with as little as 100,000. I've done E2 visas with people 1,000. But again, it's still a non-immigrant visa. Another very popular non-immigrant visa is for people that are currently working for a company back home and they want to transfer themselves to the United States. This is the L1 visa. You have two kinds of L1. There's an L1A, where you are a manager, top executive, or your L1B, you're a professional. So I'll give you an example. Right now, we've done an L1 for a specific software engineer that has knowledge in the company's software. They moved him from from the home country to the United States. So the L1 is a very, very popular visa that allows people to come here and be able to work. So these are the top common non-immigrant visas that we usually process on a regular basis. Now, let's say to live here permanently, right? So now we move to the next bulk, which is the permanent visas, also known as a green card. So a green card is basically, it's a permanent thing. It's a 10-year card where you can live and work and do whatever you want. So to get a green card, you have different categories. So the first category is EB1A, where you're a top of the top, right? You're a highly skilled individual. You won awards. You have maybe a PhD or a high degree. Those EB1A categories allow you to apply for the green card without an employer. So maybe you've invented something. Maybe you've written a book. EB1A is a very, very good category for people that don't need an employer. The next one, we're moving to the EB2. Now, the EB2 category is also for people that have advanced degrees. However, that category has two verticals. One vertical is self-employment, national interest waiver. You are highly educated, highly advanced with your skills, but you're not top of the top. You're not, Nobel Prize winner. You're not, So this is one of the most common categories we do. But you maybe have something that you are able to do in the United States, impact more people in the national interest. This is the one top category that I do for a lot of individuals to allow them to come here and get a green card without an employer. Self-petition, because they have a master's degree, because they've done something special, because they have maybe a project that they're going to come here and launch. The second vertical of EB2 is you have an employer who wants to sponsor you because you have an advanced degree. And it's pretty simple process. The key is to find an employer that is willing to give you a job offer and pay you the salary that is required. Then the next category under the EB is the EB3, which is the most common one that I do. This is for anyone that is just graduated from university. Maybe you are an unskilled worker. Maybe you are like a mechanic. You don't need a degree. This can also be helpful for restaurant workers. EB3 is the most common category for employer to sponsor employees in the United States. And the good thing about EB3 is that you can do it even if you're not in the United States. You can be sponsored by somebody even before you arrive. Now, another category is, let's say if you're a religious worker, let's say you're a religious person, you've been working in a church or a mosque, and you have a religious organization in the United States that wants to sponsor you. That is also has two verticals. It has a non-immigrant vertical, which is the R visa. You come as a religious worker, or you can be sponsored for a green card under the EB4 category, which allows you to come here and be sponsored by a church or a mosque or a synagogue, anything like that. Come here and work. It's a category. You have to have money set up in their trust account, and within, I would say, 3 years, you should be able to get a green card using the EB5 category. It's very popular for people that want to get green cards for their kids. They don't necessarily want to move here all the time and work. And so these are the kind of like an overview, like a bird's eye overview of the U.S. immigration system. And these are the most important things that we do for a lot of our clients, where we help them with non-immigrant visas, but also those people that are interested in permanent residency and want to be able to immigrate here permanently. They are coming here and applying for green cards in the categories that I mentioned before, which again, as I said, there's quite a few of these categories that people are not familiar with, they're not aware of. And I think it's important to discuss it so we have an idea about, what are some of the most efficient ways for people to be able to come and move to the United States. So I think these, in a nutshell, are the most common categories that I work with people, that I help. And of course, people know that since the Biden administration took over, there's been a lot of interest in individuals to move to the United States, especially high-skilled individuals, especially individuals that, have a lot to contribute. And I think it's really important to, to see if you qualify or evaluate. And I guess that is part of the reason why we're doing this video, is because we want to be able to offer more people the opportunity to get qualified, to see, well, do I qualify? Do I meet the requirements of any of these visas that we talked about? And again, this is some of the opportunities that we'll be able to offer a lot of your viewers that are watching these videos and are interested in the topic of immigration, of course.
Amazing, awesome. This is amazing explanation that you gave. Sorry, I paused my video because there were some latency issues, and I really want people to hear you fine. Few more questions, and thanks for. And I will share the link on about your company, the form that you sent me, and other details to contact you at the description of this video, so my audience can connect you directly. Do you also work for startups? In Pakistan, we have a very, very vibrant startups community. There are a lot of founders. They have issues when they raise funds. They can open the PayPal account and the bank account and all those things. So can you specifically work with a startup founder in Pakistan who is a sizable company, who want to raise funds, want to move to the United States, and if there is any visa category they can fit into?
So we absolutely, we have a full division at our office that is dedicated to startups, to startup founders, and we work with them in different stages. So we have those that are currently overseas, and they are currently just doing the research, trying to understand what are the options. So we work with them on an assessment process to understand, first of all, what is the stage of their startup? What is the goal of them moving to the United States? What are some of the things that are important for them when they do that? And so we help them with the initial assessment. Then when they're actually ready to proceed, we'll determine what are the good visas for the founders. So a lot of our founders are coming on O1 visas because they have the skills, they've done already something. Some founders that already have an established startup back home, I can move them on the L1 visa as an affiliate, or sometimes on an E2 visa if sometimes we need to move things a little bit faster. So it really depends. But usually if I can qualify the founder for an O1 visa because of their achievements, it's probably better, because then from the O1 visa, I can move them real quick to a green card based on national interest waiver or EB1A if they qualify. A lot of the startups that we are working with, we also are in close contact with the investors. So some of the investors are obviously back home, but a lot of investors are already in the United States interested in those foreign companies. So we have a close communication with those investors, because our job is to explain to them how these founders are going to come here, because before they put their money, before they are able to commit to put money in those companies, they need to know that there's a clear path for the founder to be able to come here first and be able to stay here long term. So we literally have a full a mapping with the investors and the star founders. We show them first they're going to come on a B1 visa, so they can come meet, set up their offices. Then we're going to move them to the O1A visa. When the O1A is approved, we're going to start working on the green card. So this way, there's a full circle. So the investors feel comfortable. The founders have a clear idea how they're going to do it. And right now, there's a lot of opportunities for startups to come here, because there's a lot of interest from investors to look for new ideas, new opportunities. There's a lot of funding that is available, both on the East Coast, in New York City. New York City has a very vibrant startup community, and on the West Coast, Silicon Valley, but also Los Angeles and San Diego, which became very strong hub startups, specifically foreign startups. So I highly encourage any foreign founder or any foreign entrepreneur that is interested to at least explore the options, to discuss that with us, because we can actually map you a full cycle of what to do from A to Z before they're able to come here and launch their company in the United States.
Just a quick note, I have a lot of audience from India as well. What I believe, those visa categories are agnostic to the country they are coming from, except you're coming from Iran or North Korea, but but everything else is the same. So if somebody's applying from Bangladesh or Afghanistan or India, the procedures would be the same, right?
Correct. So the only visa that is not available for Indian nationals is the E2, which is the investor visa. But aside from that, Indian nationals or any other national that is watching this video, you're eligible for all the visas: O1s, H1b, L visas, NIW green card, EB1A, EB5. Just the E2 is it's a treaty-based visa. So there's a list, and I can send you a link to all the countries that are eligible for the E2 visa, and you guys can check and see if your country is on the list. But aside from that visa, all the other visas we mentioned in the video are eligible to all countries.
Yeah, I've checked. Pakistan is on the list. And what is the minimum requirement for investment for E2? Like $60,000?
Yeah, Pakistan is definitely on the list. I mean, there's no set amount, but I can tell you from practice and what embassies are expecting, they're not going to approve anyone less than 50,000. So, and again, it depends on the business. So if you're going to open a fancy restaurant in New York City, 50,000 is not going to be enough. But if you're going to open a consulting business for helping people to deal with depression, which is, and you're a licensed psychologist and you got your license, which is an example of an E2 visa business that I've done, then 50,000 is enough, right? So it's really about the business. If you can justify the amount, they'll accept it.
How about in Pakistan? We see this trend that 30 years ago, a lot of doctors moved from Pakistan to the US, and you would not find any corner where you do not find a doctor with the name Muhammad, or a Muslim guy serving somewhere. And then the similar trend happened with farmers. A lot of farmers come and shifted somewhere in Wyoming and of the Midwest to farmland. Do they have still chance for, if somebody's a doctor, somebody's a farmer, to come to United States on a special visa just to do farming or just to practice medical or dentistry or something else?
So let's talk about the doctors first. So there's definitely still a shortage in medical professionals in the United States, especially since COVID. So any medical physician can still come, as long as they pass the medical board here in the United States and they find a hospital. The thing is that a lot of these doctors are going to find themselves in rural areas mostly. So a lot of them in the Midwest, some states that are not as popular as they expect. But if you look at some of these doctors that came here 20 years ago, many of them started in those communities and then slowly moved to better positions, maybe in the East Coast and the West Coast. So, if your goal is to move to the United States, there's still a lot of hospitals that are in demand of doctors and nurses. So I still think that there's still hope for medical professionals. And of course, they know that a lot of these doctors that come from, Pakistan, India, a lot of these countries are very dedicated, very highly, professional individuals. So yeah, if you have the skills and you are willing to take those exams and pass them, you're still able to get residency. In terms of farm workers, this is a little bit different because right now, while they have a shortage of farm workers, there's a lot of influx of undocumented immigrants that are coming from Mexico and other Latin American countries that are already here in the United States. A lot of their labor force is being placed in farm labor. But at the same time, a lot of these farms are worried that they're going to be raided because they have a lot of undocumented immigrants. So the H2A program is still very strong to bring farm, labor force. It's just a temporary visa. It's a short duration. It takes a long time to get it. But again, a lot of farms are still looking for legal workers. And if you're able to position yourself as somebody who's skilled in that labor and you find a farm that is willing to sponsor you, because like I said, right now, it's about those farms that are willing to sponsor labor to work in the farms, then it's still doable. H2A visas are still available. So yeah, I mean, if somebody's interested in that, but I can tell you for physicians, there's still a high demand, 100%.
Okay, last few questions. Do you also help in spouse visa? A lot of Pakistanis or Indians are marrying to people in United States with citizenship, and they have fiance visa and they're like married couple visa and whatnot. Do you help on those as well?
Of course, yeah. So like I said, our firm is a full service law firm. So we have a full division for family physicians. We have a lot of cases right now in Islamabad. They're stuck there because of the embassy was backlogged, and I do a lot of videos about that too. So yeah, we help with all the process of filing the petition in the United States, all the way through the U.S. Embassy, supporting the family at the National Visa Center. We do all that. And again, those of you that are going through the process or are thinking about it, it's still very, very slow, and it requires a lot of patience. But Islamabad has definitely become much more efficient the past 6 months, and they've reopened pretty much almost fully to visa processing. So absolutely, if anybody needs help in the family side, by all means, we can help.
There are two myths when I talk to the people about USA and visas. Number one is everybody think that you need to be on the level of like Noam Chomsky or Bill Gates or Einstein to be able to get this O1 visa, or investor, or we need like millions and millions of dollars. Can you shed some light on those myths that there are not the only requirement? There might be certain categories for those two people who are billionaires or millionaires or have Einstein level IQ, but for everyone else. So just shed some light, if there are ways.
Yeah, so for example, if you look at the O1 visa, if you have let's say good education, and you have showed progression in your career, and maybe there's some things that you worked on, maybe you've been part of a project, maybe you've spearheaded a particular industry. What we can do is we can basically, the way we show it is we can show that in this particular industry, we kind of narrow down the industry. In this industry, this person is top 10% or top 5%. You know what I mean? So it doesn't have to be all over the world. Let's say if you're coming from, let's say product management. So product management in your space, you've risen to probably the top. So that's how we do it. We kind of narrow the field and show that in this area, this person is top, so we can show maybe there's articles about you. If you don't have articles, you can get articles. I mean, there's a lot of companies that will help you get published because of your skills. They're looking for content to write about people, right? So it's just a question of being able to be, to elevate those areas that are currently missing, and be able to show, because, people will be surprised. We find, that somebody was on a committee, they were judging in a particular competition. They don't think much of it, but for us, it's important because I can show that they meet at least some of the requirements for their visa. You know what I mean? So it's definitely possible. That's why it's important to go through the assessment to see what you have, what you don't have. And then we tell you, if you are missing something, what you have to do to qualify. So some people are not that far. They need a few more little things, and then they can qualify. You know what I mean? So that's why it's very important to go through the process of being evaluated to know exactly where they're heading.
Sure. Last question. I see a lot of startups in Pakistan, and I really want them to come here, raise some funds. In that way, we can help Pakistan, sending a lot of remittance, making unicorns. And on the other hand, we'll be helping the US as well, launching new companies, giving more employments. is there a way I can take you to Pakistan? Maybe there is a big conference or something where you can go and I take you to startups, you can meet those guys, you can explain them one-to-one in more detail. So would you be interested going to Pakistan if somebody
Yeah, absolutely.
hosts you for conference?
Yeah, I work with a lot of companies in Pakistan already, and I think that people mentioned the fact. So I'll be more than happy to come. And when we do that, we can announce the event where I'll be there, and we can maybe do a series of meetings and presentations, and I'll be more than open to come and meet the people over there. And yeah, absolutely,
Perfect.
I'll be
Thank
more
you,
than
Jacob.
happy to do it.
Thank you so much. I will share all of your related links in my video, and I might get you on call again if there are more questions. Thank you so much for giving your time.
All right, thank you so much, Usman.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Shan.
Bye-bye.